So we can call this
All
to
right.
order, and Brian can get here when Brian gets here, and we'll
You
just
can go forward, yeah. All right,
Yeah.
we'll call the meeting to order.
12:02. All right.
Alright.
I've already talked about this. I was just talking about this with Charlotte, but we will need to amend the agenda to remove 8B. We're gonna postpone that until the June meeting. We're waiting on, we need a little bit more information, so someone will just need to make that motion too.
I make the motion to amend the minutes to take out what you said, 8B.
The agenda.
The agenda.
Oh, the agenda, I'm sorry, to take out 8B.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Alright, supported. Is that a vote or is it just?
Yep.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed.
All right.
Alright, then, the next, okay, do we need a general approval of the minutes or we're just
We're gonna take a roll call.
taking that
Oh,
out?
yeah, we need roll call, actually. Sorry. Sorry about that. I need roll call. Sorry. All right. Fred Prime.
Present.
Sue Montenegro.
Present?
Charlotte Jones.
Present.
Bobby Levin.
Present.
Dan Sugg.
Present.
Pam Schermeyer.
Present.
Brian is, we're going to call him late, and then Mayor Garrett is absent. So you do have a quorum. We will need a motion to excuse Mayor Garrett.
Motion to excuse Mayor Garrett from the May DDA meeting.
Support?
Oh, and here's
Alright, so made support. All those in favor?
Aye.
None opposed.
okay. All right, now we can go on to
Approval of the agenda?
approval of the minutes.
Well, we didn't technically approve the
Yeah.
agenda.
We didn't?
did
Oh.
with the corrections.
All right, so now we need a motion to approve the amended agenda, removing item 8B.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended agenda, May 19th.
Okay,
Alright,
Support.
made support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, motion carries. Alright, approval of the minutes.
I have read the minutes and would offer that motion when everybody's ready.
I would support.
Alright, made and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Alright, financial review.
Pammy.
Pam?
Welcome back.
Well, thank
We
you.
missed you last week.
Thank you. Well, I'm not going to be here long today either, so. But anyways, from the April report that we have, the tax settlement was finalized by Oakland County, and the DDA revenue will, you will see that in your May report, because we just received it into our bank account. So you will see all the adjustments to the revenue in May, and those are going to be your TIFA account and your tax collection other account. So you will see a big increase in those two accounts for the revenue coming in. As I was printing off this report, I'm not sure why your employee taxes and benefits are over by $14,000, so I did circle that to look into. And I will be reporting on that next month to what that is.
What page is that on, Pam?
Page 5.
Okay.
So there is, I don't know if you have this one, yeah, that one,
Yeah.
that's the one. And in the expenditures, the fringe of account is over, so I just have to look into see why that is over. And let's see, the DDA investment interest is doing very well due to the increase in tax rate, or increase in interest rates. So you guys are really doing well. You are over by 19,000 from what you had budgeted, so that's doing good. You're at 296%. So that's great. So I'm sure Susie will be bringing a budget amendment to that in June.
Yes.
And overall, looking at the budget, you guys, none of your accounts are over budget except for the fringe account, and everything looks well. You guys are doing well with your budget, and you're in your means.
How do you shop those rates for the investment account?
Bankers send us, I'm getting from bankers all the time, but there's CDs, there's, different rates that we have that we're getting them on, so.
It's independent from the county,
Mm-hmm.
so we don't take any guidance from the county on that,
Well, we do sometimes,
or, yeah,
so.
okay. Right,
Just on the type of the invest, like the, what the act says that we can invest in, and then you
Right.
decide. Okay.
And that's all I have unless anybody has questions for me.
Any questions, sure? Tam?
was
All
there
right.
a, just a mention from last meeting, we talked about having a summary, with the financials, did we talk about that last
We
meeting? Yeah,
That is the
It was
summary.
it's in your packet.
is it, or did I miss it?
Just a real brief,
That's where
Real
I
brief
talked about the
memo.
tax settlement, the employees being over,
page 4.
the DDA investments, and the overall budget.
Oh.
Did you want something different?
Nope, that's kind of what I was looking for.
Okay. Because if
Thank
you want
you.
something different, I'll be happy to
Appreciate
do it.
No, it's good. No, I think, and it would have been helpful, I think would be helpful even when you're like not here unexpectedly or something, then you have it and we can see it and we don't have any questions. So great, thank you.
Not a problem.
And we'll just need a motion to receive
Yeah,
and file.
thanks, Pam.
Motion to
You're welcome.
receive financials as presented for April.
Support.
All right, need support. All those in favor?
Aye.
No opposed. All right. Committee reports.
Good meeting you guys.
Right, Britt, would you? Thanks, Pam.
You're welcome. I know we're short staffed downstairs, so I gotta go back down.
Britt, would you like to give us a quick update on the committee activities?
Sure. So yesterday's promotions meeting was awesome. I've been developing promotional material for all the events that we have coming up. So basically, we're just getting ready to promote. We've locked in vendors and all of the fun stuff are behind the scenes. But as far as the committees, they've just been really helping as far as deciding which banners we should purchase, which flags, the designs. I mean, Dan and Mark helped so much as far as what we should include in the banners. Other than that, I've got the budget for the things that we're doing. So the biggest thing now is just ordering the materials for the events. And the committees have been wonderful and just giving advice and editing and content, all that fun stuff. Other than that, we're moving right along.
All right. Anyone have any questions on upcoming events and activities that we may be doing?
The concerts start when?
The concerts, that is, do you happen to know? I mean, that's still,
Is that-
The
that's-
concerts-
that's the community foundation.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, okay. I
it's
thought we
Community
did
Foundation, but they have, I
contribute to
believe she
that.
has 5 concerts locked in, which will begin the second week of June. I don't have the dates yet. She
Okay.
hasn't sent me the dates, so,
Okay.
but yeah.
I have a question about, I see on the email newsletter that there was a solicitation for helping with the planting. And one of the options was, I want to sponsor a particular planter. What does that mean?
So Susie and I discussed figuring out a way to have the businesses help us keep the flowers up throughout the summer.
The
and
hanging
also,
baskets.
yeah, the baskets.
Specifically the hanging
Okay.
baskets.
Yeah, so to get them more involved and to kind of get them engaged, it was a good idea just to have them adopt a pot. I mean, this doesn't necessarily have to be a business, it could be a resident. So that's basically what that was alluding to. If you want to help us this summer,
Okay.
water your adopted pot, then, people have that option. And we have had a couple people sign up for that as well, so.
Excellent. Are they businesses or residents?
Right now, residents,
Yeah.
yeah.
Didn't we have that being watered? We had a service doing that initially?
Never had a service doing that unless you count me, Britt, and Corey over
Yeah.
over the last couple of years.
Thank you for your
With the
service.
gators-
But so you're,
You
yeah,
were-
with
you
the
guys were the
gator, we
service.
do have a sweet little well, it looks sweet, sweet little watering trailer that we can attach to the gator. it fits in the bed of the gator, so that makes it sweeter. Now we had some troubles getting it to work. You know, the motor failed, but watering the plants has been an ongoing logistics kind of challenge, right? Those pots really need to be watered
Yeah.
at least 3 times a week. Self-watering is, let's use that self-watering part a little loosely. They're not quite as self-watering as I hoped they would be when we initially bought them a couple of years ago.
That's what it
But
is, self-water.
so they still need to be watered quite a bit. I mean, Britt's gone out, and Britt spent most of the time last year watering, and picking a couple of days and, you know, running into the evenings and whatnot to get it done.
How many pots are there?
We've got,
I think
40 pots?
Got
Four-
about 40 pots. Yep.
You're talking about just the hanging ones?
Yep, just the hanging
Yeah.
ones.
And that's
So
from Lincoln all the way
Right.
to 12
12
Mile.
yeah.
So that's about a 3 or 4 hour job
Question.
for one person.
Right, remember we did the partnering with the, was it Boys to Men?
Yeah.
Along with the police department thing that we had done?
Yeah.
What about enlisting some of those kids? Like, there's liability maybe with driving the gator, are they over 18? You know, what is involved in looking at that?
That's it right there. Is we can't allow them to drive the gator. It's just for liability purposes. It's an issue that we've tried to figure out how to get around, which is why, you know, they can water locally, but we have to figure out a way to get to every pot. And there are pots on the other side of 696, so that
it makes
is
for
dangerous.
challenging crossings.
It's
right. Like it's
Right.
not exactly the safest crossing.
Right,
For,
and if they're like 15 or something, you know, for
Yeah.
sure, I get that.
You've gotta have the level license that we have for the gator driver's license. If they don't have that, then you can't cross the highway. So it's just me and Susie right now. And we're saving a ton of money doing it. I'm okay with it right now, and that's why we've decided to get people to adopt pots, because we would rather people do that as opposed to spend $10,000.
How will you keep track of the logistics though, if somebody's
Yeah.
doing their pot
How
and
do
now
you
you're
know?
overwatering and it turns yellow and dies or
So the
something?
people who've adopted a pot, I will communicate with them directly.
So, yeah, I know it's a goofy thing to.
But how
know
kind of a
how the
schedule?
pot-
How does the person watering know which pots were?
Right,
adopted?
yeah.
They have to put a name on them or something.
No. It's so if it's in, so we'll have them listed by the block, which street it's near. They'll know specifically which pot they're
You can
in.
number.
Okay, so as an
Yeah.
effort to up that effort, which, you know, makes sense, like Ramsgate is out the door. It's not that hard. I could walk over and water.
So
it.
what you're saying is that
I'm
you
just-
are
yeah.
adopting the flower.
Right.
Thank you,
the hanging
Bobby.
flower
Yes.
bed.
Yes.
That way-
Round of applause. Okay, but to expand that effort, but to also tag some engagement onto it, okay, and hook that in too. Why don't we just do like a Google aerial? For instance, the other street, Meadowbrook, I think, is next
Are
to
you
the.
gonna get
No, I'm not. I
ambassadors
draw the
to do
line.
that one
Right?
there?
No, because that's closer to the Thai place. Okay, so why could you not just forthrightly, you got a pot, you got a building,
Oh, yeah.
knock on the door?
We could.
Like, you know, assertively just say, hey, we need your help.
We absolutely could.
And here's the expectation, because you have to tell them, because they might not know. Or of any business, I'm not singling them
So
out.
you're saying we could
Right.
just assign them to a pot?
To the
and,
closest one, Ambassadors Institute, for instance, would be closer to
They
the
would
pot.
be your backup.
They'd
really.
be my backup.
They-
I'll
yeah,
call
they're your
Pat,
backup.
exactly. But I'm just saying, you got, you know what I'm saying? So each street, you've got 2 businesses flanking that.
Got it.
But then you can also snag some engagement, like, hey, did you sign up for our newsletter? I didn't see you on the list. You know, constant
Yeah.
contact, cleanup, and all that stuff,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. It's all part of our interactions with the business. When we talk to them, we absolutely present.
Because if they don't know, they can't say yes.
Correct.
And it's an excuse to get in there and get face to face with the manager or the owner.
Ooh, add it to your featured.
Can we
Fridays.
add that to your to-do list?
Yes, it's been added. Thank you, Robin.
So I've got a question. When you say you're gonna reach out, you will contact the pot volunteers one-on-one.
The
Can
people
we say
who
flower pots? Can we just say flower pots?
The flower
Hanging
pot
baskets.
The pot volunteers.
The flower
Okay.
pot volunteers, you
get a
will
lot of support that way.
contact them and engage them
Different kind of
and
flower.
say your flower pot needs watering today or something. It won't be
No,
like
so-
that.
So essentially, Susie and I will come up with a water.
Monday, Wednesday,
schedule.
Friday, because
Okay.
they're not here on Saturday.
So when we can't water, we'll
Mhm.
say, hey, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we expect for you to, since you've adopted this pot. And this is obviously just the people that are in the database that I can
Right.
communicate with directly.
Right.
I will reach out to them and say, hey, today's your day. Maybe you get a reminder or scheduled emails through Constant Contact to where we could say, hey, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we need you to water. This is just the people that I have direct communication with. Now, as far as Bobby's concerned, we need to do a little bit more. going
Boots on the
into-
ground, get in the car and knock on the door.
Exactly.
Yeah, then we could
Yeah.
turn it into a business appreciation event.
Yeah. Which
At
we
the
which
end,
we
we
can
could
do,
have a
which we can
coffee.
do.
Okay, so
To
the
thank all
one
the businesses
closest to
for the
12
support
miles.
over the summer.
Is that one already?
No.
Okay, give me a couple of hours after we leave here, because sometimes I'm physically in the office
Yeah.
in Warren, and
Okay.
so give me a couple of, and maybe I think 12 miles. I think
There's 12
Southfield
miles?
Road is close enough to us where I wouldn't get a lot of pushback.
Okay. And you never know. We may come up with something creative where we put a sticker on the pot or a name.
Right.
We may name the pots. I don't know. We're still trying to figure that out. But
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
definitely. I noted that you will adopt a pot.
Yeah,
A
okay.
flower pot.
Thank you.
I mean, can,
Oh, trust me, they're like I can practically peek into most of them. Like, oh, hey,
Okay.
look, you got a.
so it's that, okay,
There-
so you can
There is
stand
no
and-
short.
Oh, yeah, they're
there's no
accessible.
short people problems with
Okay.
those flower
Yeah.
pots.
Okay.
There are a few of them that are a little bit higher up, but we'll reserve those for. I'll keep those.
Okay.
Yeah, I go for the
Stand
little
on the
ones.
gator and yeah.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
But the flowers will definitely look much better this year. This is my second year getting my beautification on, so bear with me. They will be beautiful. We promise.
Thank you.
I'm excited.
All right.
Me too.
Is that the committee reports?
Yep.
All right. Other business.
Other business. Well, as you all noticed, we have a guest today. Annika's here.
Yay!
Main Street, Oakland County. So she's got a little something. She's got a little something I thought you guys might appreciate having her
Okay.
attend. So take it away, Annika.
Well, thank you. For those of you who don't know, I'm your liaison for the Main Street program through Main Street Oakland County. We're the coordinating program for Main Street Oakland County. And during the main event, Susie couldn't make it, and we gave service awards to all of the DDA directors in the county. We realized they don't get a lot of props for all the work they do. They don't get recognized very often. And it's typically, for the main event, it's typically all of the stuff that you guys all do as a team that we are recognizing and volunteers and not the directors. And we thought it was pretty important this year to take a moment and recognize our directors because overall we had almost 200 years of service between our 20, there's a couple that we don't include, like Leonard, Holly Township, and there's another one right there that I can't think of off the top of my head because it's the village trustees that kind of run the program, and it's very different. Anyway, but overall that was out of so we have 28 people that participate, or 28 communities that participate in the Main Street program, and so 3 of those are at a different organizational type, and so that would be 25 managers that make up all that time, which is pretty awesome. It's a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, and the great thing about Oakland County is they share that knowledge with each other, and through managers meetings, we had a managers roundtable yesterday over in Clawson, which is completely voluntary for the managers to attend, but it just gives them a peer support group once a month that we move around. But yeah, so we were pretty excited. We had two directors with 23 plus years experience, and then we had one director, Tim Twing in Royal Oak, who's had, I think he's got 28 or 30. They were the very first DDA in the county, and he's
Royal
been the
Oak.
director. Yeah,
Wow.
he's been the director ever the whole time. So,
Wow.
yeah,
That's cool.
it is
I didn't
cool,
know
and his
that.
role's a little different, but he still has been very involved, and he's very involved. And so anyway, but I'm here to to celebrate Susie and her 8 years of service.
One thing,
And,
Here comes paparazzi.
Right, so smile.
so we've got a cool pen. It's a copper pen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's
from
cool.
County, so.
Wait, open it up.
Open
again
it up,
for
open it up for the picture.
1, 2. Awesome pen. Great picture.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right.
Yay, Susie.
Wonderful.
Leave that right there. It's a nice shiny and blue ink. You know, I like it. Thank you.
Yeah, and every service year award got different things. We kind of did 10 and under received the pens.
Right on.
We've got the 10 plus received a plobic tile, and then the 20 plus got a cool blown paperweight from a local business in Pontiac. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
Cool.
yeah,
Well
so
deserved.
but thank you.
Yay, yay, yay. We love Main Street.
Oh, my shucks. Well, thank you. We're
Do you
gonna
need
keep.
do you need a motion to accept that?
No, it's under other business. So we can just you know,
That's fun.
smile and keep going. So just keeping with the Main Street theme, also included in your packet is the Transformational Strategies webinar that is going to be coming up at the end of June. And this is being put on by Main Street America, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So, you know, Main Street has gone from, most of us know it's the 4 points, and they've, over the last few years, they've transitioned into more transformational strategies and how do our activities really go from, span all of those 4 points to make the impact within the community. So, this is going to be put on by, Sweetheart? Is that how we say her last name? Anyways,
it's
National Main Street is putting this on, and this is one of many new training sessions that the county is helping to pull in and provide for us as our coordinating program. What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing
what
something.
is
Jackie.
transformation?
Yeah, that's what I was going to explain.
Okay.
Transformation strategies training. So we've made it very clear to National Main Street that we're not big fans of that title, and we haven't been since the beginning, and they've heard us. To make it simpler and make it more understandable by everyone, we like to call them here in Oakland County an economic strategy. Super simple. It is your overall economic strategy for the DDA, right? And so, like Susie said, there's the 4 points of Main Street. The easiest way to remember them is DOPE, design, organization, promotions, and economic vitality. And it's always the biggest thing. It's not really changing. We're not changing what most people have been doing all these years, but what we're trying to do is make sure that every time that you plan an event, why are you planning that event? Is this an event you should be holding? Is this an event maybe a chamber or a local business or a historic organization should be holding, and maybe you sponsor instead of putting all of your effort into that event? Because is it meeting what you're trying to do for the businesses in your downtown and the residents who use or your corridor? Sorry, and whenever I use the word downtown, it is whatever it is in your community is that overall sense of place that brings your residents to your corridor or businesses within your corridor. So it's a great training. If you could all attend, it would be amazing. It just gives you a better understanding of Main Street and why we do what we do. We are overall an economic development program. In Michigan, we're fortunate that it pairs really well with the DDA. The DDA gives you laws and regulation, and the Main Street program gives you all of the functionality, the organization, and everything else to make it work and be successful. Jackie I need to pronounce her name, but I need to learn that because my name's very difficult,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
that's
hate
a
to
hard
pronounce people's names wrong.
Swinehurst.
But
Swinehurst?
yes, something along those lines. She's awesome. She is our liaison to National Main Street.
Okay.
She's not that
Is she
far
new?
away. She's new. We had yeah, she's new last
Okay.
year. Yeah, names aren't coming to me today, so sorry about that. But she's not far away. She's in Indiana. We thought if we did this, she was more than willing to come here. But I figured if we did it online, it would be a better opportunity for more people to be able to participate. It's a 3-hour, right? It's a 3-hour session. I should know. I'm in
9
charge
to
of it.
11 a.m.
Yeah, so 2 hours, even better. And it's going to go over the basics. It's not intended to bog people down. It's intended to be a first step educational for all of our communities. Some of them know better. I know this is transformational strategies is a little bit newer to you, and we didn't call it economic strategies because we want everybody to understand that transformational strategies is the National Main Street term, and they use it. We should all know what it is. But when we talk about it internally, it's just an economic strategy, just to simplify things. But well worth your time. We're really focusing on our economic strategies throughout all of our downtowns because they give us a clear focus and a clear mission and vision in order to get our work done. So I know Eric Phillips from our team has provided some Placer AI data as well as some Esri data. So understanding what your business, not just what your business mix is from your building inventory, but then taking it a step further and understanding who your customers are, where you're missing services that your customer base would like, where they're coming from before they come to businesses here, and where they're going after businesses here. So it's a lot of data to really help our businesses, and from that data we should kind of have an overall at least one if not two different economic strategies to support those businesses that you have here and to bring in either maybe new businesses or help businesses understand where they're missing out on potential services and product that would make them stronger and better.
Is that articulated in our marketing strategy?
Well, that's it should be articulated in all of your strategies, but yeah, your marketing would be huge because that lets people know, you know, this is who we are as Lathrup Village. This is the type of community and our big focus is, just pulling, like Clawson, they have a destination dining and retail, which is quite unique to have both of those things. So their customer base is all the way from Midland across the state to the west side, all over to some unique businesses that don't, that they do really well on, like Leon and Lulu's. They have a French restaurant. They have
Got the
Lulu's
they've
is a
got the magic
destination.
shop. It's like the
Yeah.
one. It's like
One magic shop.
It's like one magic shop. It's like one of 10 left in the state or something like
Yeah,
that.
and
like
there's a
full blown magic.
Yeah, if you want to trade sports cards or other cards like
Yeah.
that, if you want to get specialty yarn and learn how to knit.
Oh yeah, those things are awesome.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of them, and it's very. They have a harp store, like one of 3 harp stores in
They have
all
a
of
gong manufacturer.
all of Michigan.
I-
So
I
anyway,
really like bringing that one in. I gotta say.
Yeah, that one is.
Do they get
the
factory
gong show?
tours?
But
I'd take one.
He does. He did like Serenity Gong stuff in the park. I had a lot of fun with that one.
But overall, so they're they're overall a destination market. So how do they get their marketing further beyond Clawson, because they still want their residents, but they really need to market to all these other areas where people are coming from. So that approach, and then using the 4 points to make sure kind of everything they do really has one kind of overall overarching mission.
Oh.
And it actually streamlines what you do and makes it easier for everybody to understand what their roles are. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. Sorry.
No, it's
Thank you for.
I
your
don't,
input
I'm
on
not
it.
sure this link works though. That link is not, it's taking us to some other training was in January.
Oh, okay. It was
Well,
working.
yeah.
I will
Yeah, it's
text.
taken us to effective boards aren't built in a day, and that was
These are
back
the ones that
in,
catch.
we were going back and forth on.
Okay. Thank you. I
that we
will,
paid for.
maybe Susan
No,
can send it
that
out
was-
or something.
That was,
Well,
that
no, training
was,
for you.
that,
I tried it on my phone and
No.
on the
That was
tablet.
wrong.
no,
All right.
this is a free training for all of us.
Yep.
Okay.
No, that was, something else.
I'm
that-
getting it, I think.
Are you getting?
Yeah,
I'm not
mine
getting
is
it on
where
this
it's
thing, so
not
maybe
built in.
it's my device. So.
Yeah.
I'm not getting it either,
So-
and it shows up what yours did.
Yeah.
I will-
Okay.
Boards aren't built in today.
I'll send out an email to them right
They
away.
get a
Thank
new-
you
new
for that.
logo.
Appreciate it.
right, that's
Britt and I
excellent.
are already registered for this webinar, so.
If you just want to share the invite, maybe then we can
Yeah.
go do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good.
What day does that happen to be? The 30th?
June 30th. Yep.
Yeah,
June
what day
30th.
is
That's,
I think
that?
it's a Thursday.
Friday.
Thursday?
Thursday.
Oh, it's a
Friday.
Friday.
It's a
Friday.
Thursday or Friday?
Friday.
Friday.
9 to 11, right?
Yep. So, alrighty, we're gonna move into
Code enforcement.
code enforcement report. Bill, lay it on us, man.
I don't know, we went from pot to dope. No,
I mean, we can come up with something else, man. I mean, you do deal with weeds and tall grass, so
That's right.
what more than
I'm
that?
just not gonna let that go.
You have my report. I did redact all the information that, on this one that should have been redacted. I think Susie caught one or two that she redacted for me. It's been going well. Susie and I, did you put the letter in the packet?
I
or
did
no?
not. I forgot.
So
to
we
do that, sorry.
we combined our efforts and did a commercial letter, and I went through BSNA and got all the addresses and sent it out at the beginning of, it was May 1st. I sent it out to all the businesses with a checklist of things that they should be doing throughout the year, but being now it's spring, that they should get out and take care of their exterior. And June 1st, I'm going to be out walking each one. Kind of gave them a month to let's start getting your stuff in order on the outside. So basically looked like this. You could probably send it to you. I started it, and then we hammered out good language for it to kind of make it sweet, but kind of like this is, consider this your first notice, and then we'll move from there. So I did get probably, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 phone calls on people saying, I'm working on this stuff, thanks, I may need an extension for some of it, and I'm working with them, obviously, just trying to make Southfield, that whole, our whole corridor look nice. Sometimes, you forget about, me personally, we're a lot down Southfield, so, 12 Mile, gotta remember to get out there on those two, but so far, so good, everything's been going well, so. Are all of the geese complaints, Bobby?
No, in fact, your name came up because the day that the city guys, we have a water meter situation because the Thai place unhooked and then rehooked, and it's a whole thing going on, which Pam is aware of. But anywho, the guy had to get in the building. And I said, really? Like, look, it was so deep, it was now going down the flange of the driveway. And I said that I had mentioned it to you. And he said, well, that's a waste of time because it's the landlord. And I said, well, what are you talking about? Like, it drains Oakland County Road Commission. No, he is maintaining, he doesn't know specifically, but there's drainage from those sewers within the parking lots out to the culvert and all of that jazz. Right, well, we're the, what do you call the hill?
High point?
The Knotty Hill, whatever. Noel wouldn't even know that there was a culvert under there. The garbage that was in that thing, oh my gosh. So I was trying to clean that out, looking for where the pipe came out, couldn't find an exit. And he looked too, couldn't find an exit. Well, boy, I'm telling you, that guy had the parking lot redone a couple of years ago. That thing is destroyed. So it's been standing water, and it's just breaking loose all that asphalt.
The water is under there?
It's
Is it?
coming up through the sewer hole. It's backing up somewhere, right? But it's a lot of water. It's like a lake. Well, it finally went down. So I got my blower and blew all that gravel which was kind of stupid because, you know, where did I blow it
So
back
you're
into the
saying
hole?
it's
It's like, it's turning into a,
Is it gravel, or are you saying there's a
It's gravel at
combination
this
of
point.
gravel and trash?
no, the trash I got out of the culvert, that was just trash, Doritos and cans and stuff like that.
Hey,
But
at least that's all they found.
right? But the asphalt is disintegrating. So by not, you know, and that would be a good thing too for our building owners to know. Stitch in time saves 9. You got a problem, jump on it.
Right.
It behooves them to do that. So it's only down now, and the geese have taken off because it hasn't rained.
Yeah.
But if it rains again, it's gonna back up again. It's like this deep. It's like lots of water.
I'm sure we'll chit chat more about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for drainage.
And
Okay,
culvert
great.
cleanup, exactly.
And culvert, yep, and the road commission.
So, question: did you give that letter to all of the business owners, or just the ones on your hit list?
No, it was, I printed everything out of BSNA, so.
Everybody that's got a business license.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
business license or commercial landlord license, so it should have went to every business owner and, because I've had a few that called me like, my landlord takes care of this. Well, your landlord got a letter too, so.
Right.
But, you know, it is your property too, you wanna make it look nice,
Exactly,
so.
exactly.
So.
Good. Any other questions for Bill?
That's great.
All right.
Thanks, Bill.
I do. I'm sorry. I'm not. I could ask him later, obviously, but just the van, and just things going on in the municipal park. Do you have any idea how we can address that issue? Like
The what?
the window in the van and the gazebo being spray painted.
I actually, I've been
Oh,
waiting
really?
on Dave to grab some white spray paint for me. I was just
Okay.
gonna do it. He went to Home Depot yesterday, totally forgot it, so yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna just cover it as soon as he got it.
Okay.
The spray paint, and I know that we're waiting on the insurance stuff, so I moved the van.
Yeah.
You know, I had moved it for the,
The city.
hazardous waste day, so it was
Yeah.
out of the way, and then I just left it there, and then the kid
I
threw
did
a
see it
rock
taped
at
up when
Yeah,
I came in.
really?
Yeah, kid threw a rock through it, so.
Yeah,
So
we
we're-
have it on the security camera, but you can't see clearly who it is. You
Yeah.
just know.
Oh,
that
wow.
it's-
You
Wow.
saw.
Yeah, it was a
I wasn't
younger
sure if there was
boy
a
and a
camera
girl
facing
that
that.
were there. So
Wow, that's
we assume a
disappointing.
brother and sister, but we don't know. And the girl went ahead, and the boy just picked up a rock and chucked it, and then took off running. So broke the window at that point.
Okay.
We want to put it out on Facebook and say, hey,
Yeah.
Right.
Do you
I
know
think
who
that's
this
really what I
is?
asked,
Yes.
Just to see
Yeah,
how
can
we
you do
should,
that?
we should
Yeah.
address it a
I
certain
would say
way.
put it, I would say so.
I think we just found our plant water.
There you go.
You've adopted
40 cats.
You don't get to drive the
months
gator
of-
though.
Yeah,
You gotta walk.
I like the
You have to
way
walk.
did.
Here's your little wagon you can pull behind you.
Yeah, the
I
wagon.
definitely flew on it.
There you go.
That's funny.
All right, well, moving on to my report, there's actually some, we've got some activity going on. So things that I would really like to talk to you guys about, bring up are our new commercial businesses and property updates. We've got a handful of new businesses coming in. We've got, the Style Guru. I have a spelling mistake on here, I'm so sorry. Our first one is the Style Guru. She is retail, women's fashion retail down south of 696 in the Surnow, recently updated Surnow Plaza where Beauty Hunters is. So she's going to be opening beginning of June. And then they've got, it sounds like a couple people in the wings for the former Happy's Ruby Lee's space for a new user, so a new restaurant user. So that's encouraging that those spaces are getting. You can come on in, and we're just having our DDA board meeting if you'd like to.
Just saying hi, just walking by.
Yeah,
Hey,
come
Mark.
on in.
Hey,
So,
Mark. Everybody.
we are also on, so they're opening in the next couple of weeks. On Tuesday, the Planning Commission considered the site plan, approved the site plan for the event house, which is going to go into the space that is next to FedEx. Event house is going to be primarily events, like an event space. They're going to do, I mean, your conventional sort of, weddings, showers, corporate events. They are also planning on doing some pop-up retail and whatnot as they get their feet under them. The woman who is going to be running the event house, her name is Melissa Thomas, and she actually is the director of events down at Eastern Market. So this is going to be her permanent, smaller space that she can utilize. I mean, obviously through the week, but also very important for her is on the weekends, since that's not something that she has available to her at Eastern Market. And then she is partnered with a former Lathrup Village resident to do the catering, Cindy Jackson from Jackson 5 Star. And they've been around for a while, so they're really excited to be locating here. They are anticipating. They do have another step at the city council level for their special land use, but their intention is to be open September 1st once they've got everything finalized.
Are they going to have adequate parking for that?
Yes, they have. Well, I should know all of this. All in all, they're overparked by like 7 spaces, I think.
Really?
Yeah, and they've got, I mean, keep in mind they also have, FedEx doesn't have, sorry, like throwing my pen at you here. FedEx is not going to be open for the most part during the same, at the same times that their events will be held. So they have, they're able to use those parking spaces, as well as there's actually a formal shared parking agreement, even though it's the same property owner really, between that location as well as their property to the south. And then once they get, once the Panera is, once the bank is demolished and the new Panera is built, then they will also have, that parking available to them as well. So they do have adequate parking there, and certainly something that's part of the Planning Commission's considerations and requirements is give us the parking calculations, so we can make sure you're not going to be spilling over into the residential streets. So, speaking of Panera, you should expect to see that building come down soon. I'm waiting for a date. They've got all of their clearances from the city, consumers, and DTE. So it's just a matter of getting the excavator to come and take down that old bank.
Wow.
So that'll be, I mean, their plan is to get it enclosed before weather hits, and they can, carry on with their interior work. So my guess is that they would like to be open right around the holidays, so they're going to be moving fast. So I'll let you know when that one comes down. It is not going to be hit a button, kablooey, okay? It would be maybe fun to see, but that's not how it's going to happen. It's just so. And then the longest project I feel of my life, BP is open. They're open. You can go and get your gas. You can go and get some snacks.
I think I'm going on year 6, and I think that's been here the whole time. Pretty close.
Pretty close. They got their special land use approval the night I was introduced to council for the very first time. So that was back in 2019.
Yeah.
And they've been, it's been in the design and approval process long before that. So they're open, and that's very exciting. I'm sure he's thrilled too. So so we've got, and as I had kind of surmised, we're now that the city's done their cannabis thing and not allowing it, we are seeing a lot more interest. The Primerica building was sold recently. I've been in contact with the new property owner. They're going to be redoing a parking lot, getting a new user in there. So the building next to us was sold recently.
Nice.
So, working with a lot of new property owners to get their properties up to snuff. And then, before we move on to the budget, just to let you know, the infrastructure work, we had the alley and a couple of approaches that we did. Those are topped out yesterday, topped out today. Everything has turned out really, really good. We're kind of concerned with how those alleys were going to turn out, since the surface looked kind of like the moon. And so that's turned out really well. The paving contractor this year has been outstanding. So I'm still talking.
Did we change?
Yes, the first 2 years of the program, it was ASI paving, and this year we're working with Allied. So we're actually, overall, we're about 6 weeks ahead of schedule. We are going to be starting the remaining sidewalk work the first week of June. So for the DDA, we've got some sidewalks on 11 Mile, a little bit on 12 Mile that we're going to be doing, and then he's going to be start bouncing into the neighborhoods. So so all that work is moving right along.
Question about the Prime America building.
Yeah.
Is that going to go medical, do we think?
I don't know. He did float out that he was looking at some different medical office and trying to, get in contact with some of the larger hospitals and maybe do an urgent care or something there. It was about a month ago he made that comment. I saw him 2-ish weeks ago, and he was leaning more towards just office at this point. So I think he did say that they've probably got about half a dozen potential users for that building, and really their hang up is, what are you guys doing about your parking lot and the alley? Because that's not even the moon. That's like, I don't know, it's worse than the moon, but
It's back to gravel.
yeah, kind of. I mean, it's
Really?
pretty bad. So the engineer and I have met with the paving contractor. We've, separately, we've met with that new property owner together, and there's meetings all over the place. And we're really trying to figure out what the best way forward is, right? So I'm hoping to have some information on that for our next meeting, since I know we talked about that in April. So.
Are we, going back to the sidewalk construction renovations, are we responsible to the DDA for any of that contract?
Yes, we are. So I guess back in 2021, we approved our own 3-year sidewalk plan.
Yeah.
So we did Southfield Road first. So this year we're just doing a small section of 11 Mile. There's not a ton on 11 Mile, and then a very, very small section on 12 Mile that we're responsible for. But that's it.
So relatively small.
It should be pretty small this year.
Okay.
I'm estimating about, I think, just under 50. I want to say between 40 and 50,000 is what we're expecting for our total invoice for the sidewalk work.
Okay. I was just wondering, sometimes in the construction projects, to the extent they get finished early or, beat timelines as a, incentive or bonus.
Nope, they don't get that. Nope,
Okay.
they just get my undying gratitude and a lot of happier residents. So yeah, no, and they sidewalk, like I said, they haven't quite started yet. You may see them out there more so in the neighborhoods right now doing some preliminary cuts, but that's about it.
And then one other question on the also on the infrastructure. The Hawk has been submitted, or the
Yes.
application. So what's the timing on that? When do we expect feedback on that?
We won't hear back until probably probably like September.
September, okay.
Yeah, August, September, we applied for the MDOT's safety grant for the Hawks
Yeah.
and those 2025 funds, so.
Okay.
I suspect the award will be made closer in alignment to the state's fiscal year. It's
Got it.
usually what happens.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right.
Anyone else?
Any other, yeah,
No,
all right.
good stuff.
All right,
Old business?
old business. Budget, version 2. We had you guys didn't actually have a ton of changes. I did make some. We had, there was a note to add the trash receptacles back in. So I've included that into our streetscaping budget for next year. That'll be a task for the beautification committee to start shopping for trash receptacles. So we've got about $13,000 budgeted in that. I had originally held off, you may remember, because the road commission's planning to do some work, and I don't want to duplicate, but I think that those will be set back far enough. So added those back in. I left I know we talked about increasing the municipal park play structure. We talked about increasing that match. I left it as is at the 20,000. We are going to pursue some crowdfunding to supplement our match, to match our match, if you will, and then what's the name of the grant? Revitalization. Spark was in my brain. Revitalization and placemaking grant. That is a very large pot of money that is coming out very soon. The application period is open now. It closes at the end of June. We can get up to 500. Do you remember these numbers? 500,000, I think. No, that's the minimum for the project.
The minimum for the project is 200,000.
200,000. And so the county has, Main Street has reached out to the directors to see, hey, do you want to partner? There's a couple different levels of grant making that they can do. There's a housing one, there's a regional one, and then you can individual local grants. So we can apply as an individual grant, and then we can also participate and apply under Main Street's regional grant. We can only get funded under one, right?
Oh.
So, if Main Street's successful, then and we're not, then yay, we still are. If we both get awarded, we just have to pick one, right? So, figured I'd leave that in there as is, and we can adjust as necessary. I do think after attending that webinar that we've got a decent chance at getting some grant funding, and that would include redoing the play structure, overall, like renovating the gazebo, the pavilion, and redoing the parking lot, to name a few. And I'm sure once we sit down and have a more in-depth conversation with the county, we may have some other ideas to add into that. So, so left that the same, and then I did. I added, based on our conversation from the April meeting about the Primerica lot and potentially moving the alley work forward for this year, I did add that into this upcoming year's budget. After having been out there and checked it out, we really probably should. I mean, there's a lot we still need to ask with Allied, but I felt it was prudent to just include that, moving that project forward into that cost. I did lower the match for the Hawk signal to align with what we had applied for, right? And that include, like, the match would be about 32, adding in the engineering costs, I put it at about 40,000. And then a couple other additions in there. We've got a cell phone, and then replacing the staff computers, because they're starting to get that lifespan, right? I'm noticing issues. I know Britt's starting to notice issues. And then the biggie that we had talked about was the vehicle.
Yeah.
And I meant to get something written out for you, but that clearly didn't happen. But I did ask Bill to kind of, figure out roughly, how many miles are we putting on the Escape? How much is spent, in the DDA, and so roughly we're at 190 miles a month is generally the average, and about 35 and a half miles specifically along the DDA along Southfield Road. Does not necessarily equate to the same split we have for the cost share in terms of, the 60-40 time split for Bill. I will say that, Bill and I went out the other day and met with the contractor that does the mowing and maintenance along the service drive the other day. Bill and I stopped at least a half a dozen times to pick up junk from the road, whether it's, hubcaps or signage or, all other manner of things. The back of the Escape is full. So I can understand why, a little bit better why it would be a good investment. That said, I don't know if that's necessarily all the data and information that you would like.
Well, what's the origination of the vehicle? Like, how do we get the Escape? What was the, do you know the history? Does everybody know the history of how we got that?
Pam might be able to give us that information.
Did we just inherit it from somebody, or did the DDA buy that one? Or?
That is not a DDA vehicle. The only vehicle that the DDA has purchased, to my knowledge, is the Gator. And we do use that quite often, right?
Mm-hmm.
And heck, I think I saw Pam out there the other day. She probably saw me.
Wow.
So that's our vehicle. I believe the Escape was just a city vehicle that was purchased for code enforcement several years ago. So, I do think that I even if it's not, this specific truck that we were looking at, I think it's probably within the DDA's best interest to maybe try and find some sort of vehicle that we can use.
Is that listed somewhere here in the budget?
Right
It's
here.
the last
Yeah, it's
page.
right down under miscellaneous expenditures. This is code enforcement.
So,
I'm sure that
Okay.
vehicle won't be available right now anyways, because that was from the 2022 Michigan, the My Deal, where it's
yeah,
tax-free,
okay.
when you
Right.
get it through, so.
Question, you had mentioned his time, 60-40 city to us. 60 is the city,
Where is it?
40 of his time.
Yes.
Whatever came of that conversation, so of the 45 grand, let's say we pony up for the full 45 grand, is the city in a position to do the 60% or no?
We are not. I am trying right now to balance our budget and a couple of expenditures that we have to do. I had us at a surplus of $919, and now we're almost $50,000 upside down again. So we do not have the additional funds to put into this.
The city gets the police officer vehicles, right? So have you looked at that as an avenue to work a deal with, who are those vehicles coming from? Like, how does that work?
Those are my deal
My
vehicles,
deal.
exactly.
Yeah.
how-
It's the same one, my deal,
Yes.
yeah,
Yep.
right, it's the same one.
So that's
In
what
fact,
we-
the only
that's
reason
like
I
a-
knew about this vehicle is because this was one that I was gonna purchase in Hamtramck for myself because I have
Sure.
an Escape as well, as the DPW director. And he contacted me. Are you possibly interested in
still
this?
in
Oh,
this,
yeah.
yeah, I
So that's how that all came about. And then when I was talking to Susie, saying the truck. And I mean, I don't even think a new truck is really needed. If we found something even used that is just a
Well,
little
and
bit better.
for me, it's not the expense, it's the liability that comes with the expense, and setting that precedent now that we're gonna provide vehicles for everyone. So that's just what I'm trying to get
Right.
best, the cost is irrelevant. If we choose the model we want, we make our decision, the cost is the cost, but, do other DDAs provide vehicles through court enforcement, or do cities provide vehicles for court enforcement? Are we setting a precedence here, or?
I
don't have the
can't,
knowledge.
honestly, I don't know if there are other DDAs that have a vehicle. Usually, and I'll speak to Clausen, because that's where I've got
Sure.
some of the other experience, but, the DPW over there had, well, in addition to being in-house, and that's where some of our abnormality is,
Sure.
right? We have our DPW is contracted, but they had a whole fleet of cars or trucks.
So you just check
rather,
some out. and you
to
went,
use, to use for whatever they needed for city business,
Yeah.
right? I know our police here have, they need another couple of cars in the next few years because some of their vehicles are starting to wear
Yeah,
out.
they tear them up,
They
sure,
tear 'em
yeah.
up, right? So, it's not unheard of if we had a vehicle that TPW wasn't using on a regular basis, I'd say we just go snag the keys and say, hey, Crush, I need to borrow the truck for a little bit, right? But we just don't have that here, their trucks are actually in worse shape than
The
they-
cities?
Oh yeah, they've got a truck that doesn't have floorboards. We're like, come on,
Yeah.
it's like Fred Flintstone, right? So,
Annika, have you got any experience in this? Do you know?
I don't.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing Susie said, all I can really say is what Susie said, where you guys don't have your own DPW. So that's, I've worked for cities in the past, and you just use whatever truck
Yeah.
Whatever's
is
available,
available. And as long as you have the right license and you're certified, you can take whatever. So I think that's where you guys come into a bit of a issue, trying to figure out how to fix it.
yeah,
Sure.
they only have what, 2 trucks, maybe. I think there's 3 guys and 2 trucks, right? So that's.
Yeah.
How are you doing it now?
In this game,
In
Yeah.
the escape?
It's at the end of life,
Yeah.
is basically what it's saying. It doesn't
Yeah.
really serve the need, so.
Yeah.
Well, if we're budgeting 45,000, I'm not even sure we can get a new one for that.
Well, my deals, they give you, the straight, out the door pricing right from the,
Not
there's
MSOC,
always,
yeah.
that truck there, I think is like $60-some thousand
Oh, my gosh.
to the general
Wow.
public. So you do get a good deal
Oh,
on those.
wow.
So
Is this
they
like
make
a
these pricing
municipal-
just for.
Yeah.
municipal
Yes.
government?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right,
Not familiar with my
exactly.
deal.
It's,
Okay.
yeah,
Right.
and anybody can go on and access the website because they'll have like 3 pages of Excel sheets saying, depending on what type of, if you need a police cruiser, if you need DPW trucks, if you need
You're not paying
like
tax.
fire chief vehicles.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, you don't
It's
pay any
huge.
tax.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's completely different than going to a lot and ordering or picking up
Right,
a vehicle
right, right.
there.
And it's
So it
only
seems
what
like
it's only
that's
what
the
they have.
avenue.
You can't go in there and
Yeah,
just
right
order
on.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
These are the vehicles that they put for
That's
this
crazy.
my deal. So.
Right, and when
I
we
mean,
order
that's a
police
lot of
cruisers,
dough.
we
60
order them
grand.
and then we have
Yeah,
to
but
take
it's
them
just a
somewhere
road
else once
truck.
they are
Yeah.
delivered and have them fully equipped.
Right.
Rapid
So-
response or something,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that we
Not
have all the
heats.
vehicles.
Yeah,
and
which
stuff
we would
in
have to
it.
brand the vehicle too, we'd have to wrap it or something, wouldn't we? I mean, we got this, if we're gonna pay this money for this vehicle, and we're gonna drive it around, we might as well
Oh, yeah.
brand on it
Well, there
too.
are
So.
magnets on the van right now, which is
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, we got
simple.
magnets.
cheaper
What,
option.
Dan, could you repeat what you just said?
One of
I was
them
saying
is
you'd have to
missing.
brand it. Like we have a car at the credit union. It
Sure.
never moves. I don't know why we have it, but it sits out there and it's basically a little billboard. And we just wrapped it. It was blue
yeah,
and now
yeah.
it's wrapped white. You know. And
Right.
I don't think it was all that much to wrap it. It was a couple grand or something. But
Well,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I know, and I don't know what the cost was, but I know for the escape, the police chief had it, had it branded code enforcement. He put it right, and then he had the logo, put right on there because the magnets that had been used were kept coming off in the wash and getting destroyed, and
Sure.
so he just had that simple work done. You're right. We'd certainly want to make sure that we have that out there.
Would that branding be co-branding between the DDA and code enforcement?
And could that come out of a budget that's specifically for branding?
well, I mean, we could talk
Don't
through
get
that
hired.
piece, but we could talk through that piece. But ultimately, it is a DDA vehicle. We're paying for it. It's going to be branded
Yeah.
DDA, and it's going to work in the DDA area. And if we use
And
it,
code
just-
enforcement is DDA.
yeah, for
Right
when he's
on.
yeah,
Well, that's
yeah.
Okay.
part of it. And we could lease.
But then
I mean,
I'm
you could have
thinking
some
he's
kind of
going into
agreement
the
with
neighborhood,
city.
Right.
They want to see
Right.
code
I think
enforcement
so.
in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it'd be
They-
code enforcement. I would think it'd be code enforcement. Maybe we had, some agreement, shared services agreement or
I don't
something.
know. It
with the
may have
city.
to say code enforcement on there.
No, it would say, that's what I'm saying. It would say
Oh, okay.
code enforcement,
Yeah.
but it would be, we'd have to have some kind of agreement with the city. Because 60% of your time is the city.
Yeah, if we're going to cover the
Right.
expense,
Right.
we're going to lease it back to you while you're doing.
Right,
Yeah, we
what
should have-
I'm wondering
Yeah,
about that,
some-
exactly.
Well,
Well,
it would have to fall under the same split, 60-40. So.
Yeah, and that could certainly be something that the executive committee look if we move forward with this vehicle. That could be something that the executive committee talks about, and opening up that cost share. And there's specifics within that cost share agreement on what are we going to provide, what is the city going to provide. So I think that could be very easily incorporated into that kind of agreement.
But there's certainly the need, obviously, for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those were my my big changes. So I guess
So we should add that to the executive committee, or however we proceed on this. This, that my deals, is that something that is kind of hit or miss? Like, okay, this vehicle happens to be up now, it's, anybody can bid on it.
Yeah,
it can go and then
once
wait for something else.
each vehicle will have a VIN number and I'll have there's like 4 or 5 dealers that are certified My Deal dealers. And then you would contact those directly. So you can go on michigandeal.com, I think it is, or it's even through the state and put in MI, deal. And then there'll be a couple different spreadsheets, and you can kind of put, what are you looking for? You're looking for a sedan, you're looking for a pickup truck, are you looking for a light side, a light duty, heavy duty, are you looking for an SUV? All those are on there, and it'll say which one. And then you contact the dealer directly. There's certain salesmen for each one that just deal with fleet vehicles. Basically, that's all these are, fleet vehicles. And that you go from there. If they have them, he might not have it, or this one will be coming soon, or some of them it'll stay right on there in production, or this one's available. Sometimes they'll have 2022s there, or 2021s that didn't go the last time and they didn't get rid of them, so there might be some of those.
Yeah,
on
those
there
are
as
always
well.
good to get.
Yeah.
So if it's not there today, it may be there in a few
Yeah.
months or
Right,
something.
right. Because usually they put them out, I think the 2020, so the 2024's one will probably start coming out probably August, September.
So the example you give, what truck was that? Was it
I
a
think that was a
full-size?
Ranger. I think
So
it
a
was-
smaller one,
yeah,
yeah.
a smaller
Yeah,
one,
that makes
yeah.
sense, yeah, absolutely.
certainly not some F-35.
Well, like a Maverick or.
Well, and
Ranger
plus,
or
yeah,
something.
Maverick, Colorado,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Yeah, and plus for the production was down because of the chips. So everybody was backed up. Not municipalities all over Michigan, all over the, probably all over the country.
Well, first of
were
all, this
backed
car
up.
is gonna have roll windows, right? There's no chips required for that.
Tell me this thing,
Right.
You have to pay more for those now. Yes, you do.
You probably
Yeah,
do,
'cause
yeah.
it's not standard.
Radio
Oh,
delete.
they're so fun. I love driving sticks.
So what do we need
Alright.
on the budget? Is it just discussion or do we need
Just
action?
discussion, that really the next, discussion, see, what, do you like it? Do you want me to change anything?
Yeah.
Take it out, add, whatever, that in terms of discussion and really,
I'm still a little lost on the playscape thing. I don't know what $20,000 is gonna do. I know it's a match and you have to get a bunch of other money, but a real playscape's a couple $100,000, right?
yeah.
Yeah, like
I
what-
I
Right.
talked to the lady and she was
I don't know
saying
what,
to
what,
do a
what are we
full.
fooling ourselves with 20?
Right.
We might be, we can certainly.
Is that just a pad in there so we can move it around later or?
we can increase it if we want, right? And be a play structure, because I did talk to, our rep, for Burke play structures. She's just one. I need to talk to other ones, of course, but, to do a fully accessible structure, which in my opinion, there's no reason to do anything less. We're looking at about 220,000 all in. So most grants want like pretty sizable, 20%. About, and that the RAP grant, the revitalization and placemaking, they're like, I think was it 50? Or the more the merrier.
They want us to
it was
pony
the more
up
the
for it.
merrier.
Yes, the
really.
more the better chance you're gonna get.
Yeah.
That we're ponying up for.
Yes, or even if not you, but leveraging your partners.
Right.
So if you do a patronicity campaign and you've got 40 grand to match it,
Okay.
or Farmington did theirs and they made 100,000.
Yeah.
They exceeded. They wanted 60. I think they made 100. So it depends on.
So this becomes seed money then. We're really seeding.
Yeah, we're seeding. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
And I'm gonna blank on the numbers, but I know I figured out, like, if every household, chipped in 50 bucks, we're doing great, right? Math, 'cause that just sounds ignorant. We have.
You're gonna go door to door.
And I was just gonna say, we're gonna make Brittany go door to door, knock on the doors.
Good morning, sir. Would you like to donate 50 bucks?
I do think that there's an appetite for making those improvements. So if every household, we have 1,700 households. So if every single household did 50 bucks, that's $75,000. That's pretty awesome. I think there's a way that we could. Yes, maybe it will take going door to door.
Right.
Maybe it will, but
As long as we
think,
agree that's seed money,
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But the
Yes.
more seed money, the better.
Well, and we could, I don't think.
Because we talked about making that 50.
Yeah, we
not
don't
the
have to
20.
lay it entirely on the residents either. Have the businesses maybe get a sponsor line on the
Yeah.
right.
whatever plaque or sign we put up, supported by.
Yeah, and I look at it as, okay, so we've got ours, like you match us, we'll match you, and then, hey, businesses, don't forget, this is gonna help you guys too, and really, leverage everything we can,
Give naming rights to somebody for.
maybe.
Oh,
right?
like a silent auction or something.
No, like
naming
a park
rights.
naming, right?
Yeah, naming rights.
Right.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Michigan First,
Oh.
or Oxford Bank, right?
Where's the place gonna be?
Right back here.
So they're gonna take out.
Yeah, that whole, yes. And it would essentially be the same, a slightly larger footprint, I think is what Vicki told me. And so it would have to be slightly larger just based on the kind of literal base materials that we'd have to use, but
Interesting.
essentially the same. So
Is there a design for that? Or some
she's
drafts or mock-ups?
she's working on a draft for me, a draft design.
was thinking about something like that. Is there a pickleball court over there?
Yes,
Not
they
that
all
would be
want the
included
pickleball.
in the play structure. However, there is a pickleball court thing over there by Lathrup Park, like across from
Yeah.
the dog park.
It needs a little love, but it's there.
Yes, yes, and that could be part of the overall revitalization of
Revitalization.
Placekeeping. So.
Yeah. Good.
What are the odds that we're going to have anyone take us up on the facade upgrade money? We have a whole year basically to go,
And like almost nobody ever uses it.
but nobody ever uses that. And we have new facades on the way. We have a new Panera, we have a new BP, you know what I'm saying? That we didn't contribute towards, right?
I would not have advocated for the DDA to go for Panera
No,
specifically,
I'm not
but,
suggesting that. But
um,
could we snag some of that money if we don't have a taker on the facade, scoot that into the playscaping?
I mean, we could. The facade program is a program that is specifically mentioned in our development plan. So I hesitate to take that out. Since it
It's
is-
an essential that you guys would like to see.
Well, it's not something we have to see. It just you
they
have to
like
figure
to see
out.
us execute what's in the plan, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I hesitate to take it out. I mean, yes, it's basically a placeholder right now. It's there. Not many people use it. We've had it used once since we changed it to facade and site beautification. Remember, we had our guy over there, Precise. We do have this new property owner immediately south of us that, I've informed him about that program. That building needs some TLC
Yeah, it does.
too.
And he could
So
take us up on it.
perhaps he'll take
Right,
it.
right,
I
which would
mean,
be wonderful. Right.
if funds aren't used, though, we can always do a budget amendment and say, you know what, we're 6 months into this year and we're not going to be using this money. We're going to reallocate it, and we can do that too. So I'll let you know.
All right.
So I guess are there changes that you would like to see to this draft, or are you comfortable with this being the draft that you take action on?
Anybody want to up the play structure money? That would be the only question, unless you're diametrically
Yeah.
opposed to the vehicle, so I'm good
Boy,
as
I feel
presented.
stuck.
No, I mean, I think the vehicle is something we should
Yeah.
definitely pursue.
It'll make crossing 696 easier to water the plants.
Yes, it will. And reaching any of those tall hanging baskets.
Yeah.
All right, so we need a motion to
No
proceed as
motion.
amended? or-
No motion for the. Well, you know what? Might as well make a motion to move. Well, no, we're not going to do a motion for this, but I do want. I would like for the DDA to hold your own public hearing on your budget. Usually what happens is that our budget is included in the cities and as part of their public hearing process. Usually our processes are lined up a little bit more. The council's budget and budgeting process isn't quite finished, and their public hearing will not be until June 26th, because the city's budget has to be adopted by the end of June. Our next meeting is June 16th, and that is when I think that we should hold our public hearing, and then we take action on that, on the budget at that time, and then we forward it on to council for inclusion.
Would that happen as a part of the public comment after the meeting, or how would?
For the
how's that
public
go?
hearing?
Yeah.
Public hearing would show up on your agenda as a separate item of business, right?
We'd open up.
Yep, you'd open it up. for example,
So it's different than public comment.
it is different than public comment. It's very specific for that. It's in addition to public comment, really. It is. Thank you for coming, Annika.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Annika.
Annika.
It is very specific for that particular item, and it would be, like I said, it'd be listed on here as public hearing, fiscal year 23, 24.
That's
We
fine.
open it up. Anybody that has anything to say, we'll say what they say. We close it once everyone's had their 3 minutes, and then if there's, you guys can always choose to modify the budget if you hear anything that compels you to want to do so, or you can say
Or
just
not.
thank you for your comment and move forward with it as presented and make your motions appropriately.
All right. So do we need a motion to add that to the
Yes,
next meeting?
we need a motion to set the public hearing for June 16th.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing, June 16, yeah?
Yes.
Support.
So we'll definitely need a quorum.
All right.
Yes.
So everybody
Or-
ne's to put that on their dance card, for
Alright,
sure,
so
because
maybe
that's
then-
getting tight.
Yes.
It only gives you 2 weeks.
Right. We'll get it published.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. None opposed?
Awesome.
Carries.
All right.
All right.
So it is too
New
bad that we
business?
were chatty Cathy's and couldn't have Annika stay for this, but this is so another program that Oakland County is working on. They are really grooving on their things these days. Is there is Shop Oakland County Main Streets program. That's my, and this is an opportunity really to have, it's similar to, it's an opportunity for a group of Main Streets to participate in a pilot program that would help our retail businesses have a presence online, a retail presence online. They can, centralize, like I said in the memo here, it's kind of like Amazon, right? Like I can shop at Lathrup Village, and then I can also shop in Ortonville, and then maybe Clawson, and I can check out all at once. And and this is in partnership with Member Marketplace, right? A year-long partnership. Right now, there are 7 communities that have signed up. And the cost is, Main Street Oakland County is taking on, the first half of the budget for it, and then splitting the remaining $12,500 between however many participating communities. So it's kind of like the last minute effort to participate. Britt and I have. We're both kind of torn. We've talked this through, and we need some direction. It is geared more to retail establishments.
Mm-hmm.
However, there is, it doesn't necessarily have to be conventional retail with like, hey, I've got stock of 25 pairs of pants and whatever. It could be, I have a resale shop and a limited time, limited, I got this one, and you can be very specific, or you can, like smaller venues that sell, maybe it's a music venue and they can sell tickets directly there. It's not, it doesn't have to be conventional retail. But like I said, Britt and I have talked this through several different times and days, and we're kind of torn as to whether or not this is something that would be a benefit to our district, knowing that most of our businesses are more office medical related. Those that
Or
are
service,
businesses,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
25 businesses for the shop. And
Yeah.
we're also torn because we had a meeting with Munibit about
a website.
a website for the DDA, which is obviously the better option because it's all inclusive. The events, any content that we have that we'd like to share will go there. So
We just need help.
we,
What do you
yeah,
guys
we need
think?
help. Decide.
Get a chance to read through this memo and,
It's $2,500 for a year per year right now. I
oh,
believe.
for the,
So how many businesses do we have that are retail?
I mean,
For retail?
for
Yeah.
retail,
How many businesses
I was
make
gonna say, like,
something?
6 maybe?
5 or 6 that are
All
that we know
resources.
of.
Yeah.
Not the ones hiding in a couple of these buildings, but the ones that we know of that would benefit.
I mean, we might be able to get 25, but it would be a struggle,
Yeah.
I think.
And that's what they require us to
I mean,
get
it's
25?
not it's not required, but that's like the maximum that we could accommodate. I think really to make the most out of what we would, what our out of pocket would be, we'd want to max out that 25.
In the meeting, I learned that we could use it as a website. It just wouldn't be at the same capacity as the Unibit website.
And this is just giving them a service, or we're providing them access to this platform to sell their stuff online.
Yep. To help them get their online presence, yes.
But if
And
they're
how-
a business, they already have an online
Mhm.
presence.
Maybe
So
not.
I'm not, I see redundancy.
Right. Well, I mean,
Right.
and this could be, maybe they don't have an online presence right now, or their online presence is like
Yeah.
Instagram. And
And
that's
how is
Right.
Oakland County going to advertise this site?
Yeah,
So that and do I want that now that the air is nice and it's June and I can go outside? I
Right.
would rather just go to Lake Orion. You know what I
It
mean?
is rather
Like, why
nice
would
up
I
there.
do this as a consumer, from the consumer's perspective,
it. Right.
right?
Yeah, how would I even know it's there?
How do I
mean,
even
would-
know it's there? Right.
That's a good question.
How would you know what's there?
The
The
site.
site.
Oh.
Like if I'm just a general guy out there.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
right,
a
right, right.
million
You're just gonna get in the
ways
car
to-
and
if
run
they
up.
decide they want to sell you something, they'll show you it's there. They'll put it on your Facebook feed. They'll put it in your thing. They'll hit you from a social. They'll geofence
this,
you.
this company, this
Oh.
Well,
metric.
this is what they're doing. Is when they say they're helping their online presence,
Yeah.
it's geofencing and marketing. They're literally helping them grow their viewership of their existing marketing, that social media marketing they're doing today. They'll coach them on that, and then they'll help them with the logistics and the leads behind that. My question is that I think you answered it already. We don't really have that many businesses that would even participate in this.
Yeah. I'm not, like I said, we're torn.
Yeah.
Like, do we do it? Or I mean, it's a gamble.
Looking
right?
at the communities that are involved, they have very vibrant downtown
Right.
shopping communities, you know, which
Right.
Right.
it's just unfortunately is not the situation here.
Right.
It would be my opinion, but
Yeah. Let's not.
Let's not. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I
can't
agree.
see that.
Yeah.
And I hear what you're saying, just
Yeah.
generally, but like Lathrup specifically, you know,
Yeah.
how they talking about that business? Because you are competing with the Orion, Lake Orion, and
Yeah.
and Rochester, or whatever.
Rochester, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Like I said, we kind of struggled. Do we not? So,
So,
all right. Awesome.
what's
all right.
next?
Where are we now? Public comment?
We are at public comment. There is no public here, so check on that. Next up, just need a
That's it.
motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to.
Yeah, I'll say.
All right. We are adjourned.
All right, awesome.